Yes, my people, as it is hot, it don't happen. No, I feel tell you say anything PDP and APC tell you for campaign ground, all na lies and empty promises. You don't believe me. Now, Oshiomole that confirm man. He talk say campaign ground is not meant for an agreement. He said just promises, and promises are made to be broken at times. Please, when I talk too much, make una share this video and when I see the way Oshiomole they talk this with the man. And please comment your opinion in the comment section. And Oshiomole come see talk now. They tell us say, wait till your party get to offer if we vote on in. Oshiomole not see what he talk. All what they do, go to yap PDP, say PDP not work for 16 years.
Talking about agreement, your party, the APC, made an agreement with Nigerians. And several times they've said, look, there won't be queues on the road. But, I mean, the picture that you see...
So use the correct words. In campaigns, you don't make agreement. You make promises.
But
there's a huge difference.
Your party, I'm saying your party has an agreement with the Nigerian people.
No,
your party has engaged the Nigerian people. That's why they voted them into government. And when they gave them the power to be in government, your party has an agreement with Nigeria to protect lives, to make their protect lives and property, and make their lives better. These are the agreement that they made with the Nigerian people with their votes. But if you look at the queues that you see, I mean, interestingly, you're a former president of the NLC. And I bet you that if you were the NLC president at this time, you probably would have taken your colleagues to the street. How difficult is it to ensure
about what?
About the fuel queues that we're seeing?
Yeah.
Are they necessary?
No, I have no answer to that because I don't know the cause of the queues.
Let me play a sound bite of the Ipman president who was on the program yesterday. We'll play you that soundbite in a moment. Who was saying that simply there was a breakdown of the pipelines of the NNPC, and so there are third parties who are helping to distribute it, and that way it's raising the price of the commodity. But the question is that how can you have a government that has spent almost 8 years in office, and we have oil, well, one of the largest oil producing countries in the world, and yet we are not able to refine, and that Nigerians are now suffering every day, having to queue on the road every day. And so what would you tell Nigerians that, look, our party is fit enough to get your vote again or the third time?
Okay, so this is very simple. First, you use the word breakdown. Now, systems can suffer failure. Even you do breakdown. There was a time I called you, I said, I did see you for 2-3 consecutive days, and you said you were ill-disposed, which means your system failed you. But as soon as you recover, you go back to the desk. So if you have an accident or breakdown, it's not a basis for a long-term decision-making. Number two, we must ask the question, who destroyed the refineries? What was the question of the refineries by 1999? From 1999 to 2015, PDP was in power for 16 years. During these 16 years, if they bring out the figures, what they claim to have spent maintaining these refineries, so you will faint. And a PDP president decided to privatize the refinery. That was Obasanjo, towards the tail end of his tenure. Another PDP president came and revised the privatization, promising 6 months that fuel will be available. 16 years later, you remember that part of the problem, one of the huge crises that President Jonathan faced was dealing with this issue. And I'm on record as one of the few governors who said this is not a party matter. We have to act as statesmen and protect the system, because if Nigeria fails, God forbid, there's no country, we don't have a neighboring country where we can migrate to. We can absorb all the other countries around us, but they can absorb us. So if you talk about maintenance of the refinery, you will have to trace the history to 60 years of PDP. They couldn't fix the refineries for 6 years. Now, a couple of things that I believe this government has done in this area. They managed to get past the PPIB into law. That is something that has been on the drawing board for God knows how many years. And we are all persuaded to believe that without that law, we're not going to attract the right investment to that sector. Now, that has been done. And under this government, because every government speaks to how the private sector should be the engine of growth. That seems to be the in thing. Not state control, not state ownership of business. Even candidate Atiku speaks about privatizing NNPC. But to the credit of President Buhari, and additionally credit to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that his vision to set up a free trade zone in Lagos attracted the private sector investment, the Aliko refinery, which is going to be the second largest refinery in the world by a Nigerian, located in Lagos. Now, why Lagos? Lagos is not known to be the highest or one of the major oil producing states. So why Lagos? Because Lagos created the enabling environment. They thought through the idea of a deep sea port. You remember how Eko Atlantic used to overrun Victoria Island, fought it back, and reclaim a place we now call the
Babbage.
No. The Babbage. No, we now call it. I think it's now called Eko Atlantic, which is now a very beautiful area. The land they reclaimed from the Atlantic Ocean is almost as large as Victoria Island, and that is why some of us say a man who can fought the Atlantic Ocean and reclaim it and turn it to a high-profile area, you can't compare him to somebody from Anambra who, according to the current governor, presided over a state that, according to Soludo, is the headquarters of gully erosion.
But the reclamation
if not in the world,
the reclamation of the Atlantic was during Fashola days.
Yeah, but the planning didn't start there. These things, there's a long-term program. If you ask Fashola, he will tell you when the decision was taken, how they went to Singapore, how they were inspired to do a couple of things and decide that this is the long-term solution to this perennial problem.
Comrade, the question I'm asking you tonight is, why should Nigerians consider your party to lead this country again in 2023? Has your party deserved it?
If we don't deserve it, who deserves it? Those who mismanaged the country for 16 years, so bad that they themselves, I remember, if you were to check, and I know you are a very smart guy, check your visuals, do some research. You will find where somebody like the former Senate president and a few others, when they form what they call, before they form new PDP, and eventually they come to APC. You remember that there was this debate about changing the name of PDP because PDP was no longer electable because of the damage they did to Nigeria at a time when the oil prices for about 5 consecutive years, we were crossing over $100 a barrel, or at a point $140 dollars a barrel, producing over 2 million barrels per day. And yet, the economy became what it was. So the Nigerians were so fed up that national elections had to be postponed, because when you talk about security, you talk as if Nigeria was so secured. Now, what led us to make that promise in the first place? Boko Haram started under President Obasanjo in Maiduguri, and then gained additional strength up to the time of Jonathan. So strong that President Jonathan requested of the National Council of State for endorsement to postpone national elections because 28 local governments were hosting foreign flag. So you can't conduct election across Nigeria, and the national election in 2015 were postponed. Now, whether you appreciate it or not, the truth of the matter is, go and talk to people in Borno State. They will tell you that Boko Haram has been, we can't say it's no longer there, but certainly it doesn't have the kind of strength, the power to even violate and make it impossible for people to go to mosque. Comrade, we're out of time.
I will allow you a parting shot, and it's going to be in 30 seconds. A lot of Nigerians, perhaps some of them who have not made up their minds on the president they need to vote for, perhaps they're watching tonight and they're considering who to vote for. What is that one thing that you could tell them? If you have 30 seconds to convince them tonight about your candidate, what would that be? Just in 30 seconds.
First, that Tinubu has promised exactly what he's going to do in a very coherent manner. The only question is, why should we believe him? Look at what he did in Lagos. The real issue in Nigeria is mobilizing resources. And look at how he mobilized resources in Lagos from a state that was earning 600 million naira IGR to over 50, I don't know what it is now, over 50 billion naira now in a month, not in a year, from 600 million. And I know this because I engaged him over the payment of minimum wage. And so he has that capacity to take the difficult decisions, many interest groups in Lagos, went to court to challenge his tax reforms in Lagos. And today, Lagos can do without. Number two, he is a believer that Nigeria should be restructured. And he tried to breathe air into it when he decided to create new local governments in Lagos, which President Obasanjo fought him and decided to hide under the guise of that reform to stop allocation to local government. So he's a believer that states should have,
30 seconds is over.
the federative units should run their own affairs.
But I must sincerely thank you so much for coming tonight.